Hey, LeMay again. Today we're reacting to a video from Malik Kashad's channel called Why the New Girls Can't Sing. And let's just go ahead and jump right into it.
20-something years ago, the girls were practicing and putting in hours when they didn't even know it. What happened? Well, it's pretty simple. The girls just aren't getting their hours anymore. Once upon a time, there were a lot more careers available in music. A typical career path for a singer would be they start in a group or a band, sing background, then graduate to a solo career. Get discovered and get their first record deals. Before releasing her debut album, Whitney Houston covered this entire gamut. She sang jingles. Tonight is unmistakably stick and dale. She sang demos. She did background work, and she did a club act before she released her first record. That is hours and hours of private training and development that the current crop of singers no longer are able to get because these careers are no longer really available.
They always think it's sudden, don't they? But it's not sudden. Overnight success. No. I've been working in nightclubs in Florida for a few years, and then to New York and getting into jingles by accident. A lot of it is by accident.
There is a market for people who sing and wrote jingles for big products and brands.
Your voice is in a lot of commercials now. Mm-hmm. Tell them some of them they would recognize. Y'all know the Reebok spot. You got to play like it don't need money. Play like you never get hurt. You got to play.
I don't remember that.
You could be a demo singer, singing demos for big name artists.
Like I used to demo a lot of records, and there was a club beat that came on, and two guys were like, here's some lyrics. You know, at the time I was getting paid $150 as a demo. You know, he said to me, if you put this demo down and I don't have a melody, but if you make these lyrics work, I'll give you $300. So I was
here I am about to get emotional again. This lady right here, Miss Andrea Martin, is dear to my heart. I met her in 1998 at a Sam Goody music store. That vote of confidence that I had at that time, I owe that a lot to her. May she rest in peace.
But even after signing a record deal, a singer was still not put on stage immediately.
Right.
There was a thing called artist development. So at labels such as Motown and Columbia Records, artists were enrolled in singing, dancing, and acting lessons to make sure they were well-rounded performers before it was time for them to be presented to the public.
Maurice King was our musical director at the time. He said, I got two things that'll help you, okay? First of all, you got to be aware that the cold, that's why you see me with this on, right, even though it's hot outside. You know, you got to keep your vocal cords warm.
Right.
And he told me for the first time, your top note is a B flat. In your natural voice.
Right.
If you go above that too many times, you won't have voice.
Did y'all hear what she said? If you go above your top note too many times, you won't have a voice. It also works in reverse. If you keep singing lower than your natural voice all the time, it will be the same situation. This goes for singing. This goes for speech, rap, spoken word. I think I know where he's going with the next part.
That's what I do now. I stay in my key.
Artist development is no longer present in today's music industry. So you have singers who are being taken straight from Instagram and put on the Grammy stage. They are being expected to do the same work without the same preparation. And the result is what we hear today. The homogenization of sounds in mainstream music, girls not being able to replicate what's on the record, running into premature vocal issues, but most importantly, not being prepared for the rigors and demands of the music industry and ready to leave after the release of their first single.
So now what can I do?
I am not saying that one generation of singers and musicians is better than the other.
I am. I remember this last performance at Showtime at the Apollo, and listening to that, she was actually off key, like with pretty much all of that. And she still tore the house down because we knew the capabilities. Look how she delivered it. The band was on point. It was a package. See, what happened back then is if you were ever missing in one area, A&R trained you so that the other areas can make up for it. Example, Whitney's voice was so good, we didn't notice immediately that she couldn't dance. No one could be perfect every single note, every single move, every single performance.
But what I am saying is that today's singers and musicians are a direct reflection of how life and politics impact art.
I'm glad that being right in the midst of that era that I feel like I didn't lose out, but so much of that was because of what I had outside of school. I cannot tell you how many billable hours that we put in thinking that we were JJ Fad, the rappers, or In Vogue singing Hold On.
And I wonder.
And there were a lot more local superstars, I could say. See, there's one side of it that he didn't touch on that sometimes we miss. Back in the days, 20s, 30s, 40s, Jim Crow era, people were either church folks or they were juke joint folks. That's how you got the blues. That's why you hear a lot of the same tonalities and inflections and runs and riffs and things in gospel and in the blues because they were crossing over. Some of them people would be in that juke joint and sitting up in church the next morning. So when he spoke about the music being classical in nature, you hear those type of deliveries with a little more grit and soul to it, which I call, and some others call, a tear in the voice. It's that thing of that blues that we sang as a people, that heartbreak that was instilled in us through generations for what we went through. So when you put that with the classical stamina and delivery, you get what you hear today. I'm sorry, I'm not sure what we're hearing today, but what you heard up until maybe like the late 90s, early 2000s out of singers. I don't know what they're doing, if they're doing anything at all with kids as far as these things go, but we really need to find a way to keep it going. So I thank you for joining me through this emotional roller coaster ride. As always, love, LaMay.